that even this amount of aid, if it is up and running, if it isn't marred by the sort of violence that we've seen, isn't anywhere near enough what's necessary.
The Japanese company iSpace has lost contact with its unmanned Resilience spacecraft as it was attempting to land on the moon. The robotic lander would have been the first from a non-US company to achieve a controlled moon landing 2 years after its first attempt failed. But mission controllers have not been able to re-establish contact. An iSpace executive said that they'll learn from the experience. Let's speak to Leroy Choi, a former NASA astronaut and commander of the International Space Station. Sir Chow, welcome to the programme. First off, what do we know about what went wrong this time?
Well, unfortunately, it sounds a lot like what happened the first time they were approaching the surface of the moon, and then, the mission control team reported that they observed the lander falling at a fairly high rate towards the surface just before they lost contact. So that pretty strongly suggests that it did crash onto the surface of the moon, very much like the first time. In the case of the first time, some of their sensors got confused and thought it was closer to the surface than it was. There was an issue with perhaps some low fuel, but at any rate, they'll have to analyze all their data to see what went wrong this time. Presumably, of course, they learned from their first experience, and it's really a shame if that happened because this was an exciting mission with a pretty ambitious schedule, and unfortunately, it looks like it's not going to work out.
So you mentioned there the fact that the hard landing, we think, was caused by the fact that Resilience was travelling too fast. How difficult is it, or what are the challenges in controlling spacecraft from space, from Earth rather?
Sure. Anything you do in space is going to be challenging for sure. So far, there have been many attempts to land on the moon, and a lot of them had ended in failure. The two U.S. companies have successfully landed on the moon. Intuitive Machines, to a degree, succeeded, but in both cases, their landers toppled over shortly after landing. One company, Firefly Aerospace, a few months ago, successfully landed their first lander on the surface of the moon. Their mission was a complete success, so that was great news, and it would have been wonderful to see iSpace complete their mission. Like I said, they had an ambitious schedule. They were carrying a small rover with them, which was going to traverse a part of the surface and use a scoop to actually take a sample of the regolith, or the dirt, if you will, on the surface. Unfortunately, all that appears to have been lost.
Yeah, that was the European Space Agency rover, I believe. I mean, there are a lot of agents or agencies involved in missions like this. Can they continue to afford them? Because this must cost millions and millions of pounds or euros.
Well, sure, it is expensive. These companies, they do have NASA contracts in general, most of them do, to help develop this commercial capability of landing payloads on the moon. The idea is to put spacecraft down and rovers to characterize the surface and prepare it for when we send humans there, with the goal, of course, of eventually building a lunar base. And so, this will continue because the NASA Eclipse programs, as it's called, involves several different commercial companies, and so it will continue.
Leroy, can I just jump in very quickly?
Yeah,
why the moon? What's the big deal with the moon? I presume there's money to be made out of this as well.
Well, the moon is, of course, we've gone to the moon before. We have probes that go to the moon, but there are some, important resources there that we might be able to utilize. And of course, there's interest in exploring the moon with humans in preparation for sending a human mission to Mars, right? And of course, we've been exploring Mars for a number of years with rovers, all those government programs. And so this is
Leroy.
Leroy,
sorry to interrupt. We've run out of time, unfortunately. Leroy Chow there.